Aloha and welcome back to this Stick with the Winners class. I'm Ken B. and we're doing a series of videos designed to provide additional detail and background information for the new book that my dad and I just released entitled Stick with the Winners: How to Conduct More Effective 12-Step Recovery Meetings Using Conference-Approved Literature. And now for this video, I'd like to turn things over to my dad, Dick B. Dad, take it away, please.
Dick B again. As we said in the previous video, these two videos, designated parts 1 and 2, give a glimpse of the enormous body of information available today about the how and why of the highly successful old school AA. They will point out to Christian recovery providers, clergy, newcomer sponsors, and many other resources, and many others, resources for finding the facts for themselves and assist them in training willing newcomers and sponsors as to why early AA succeeded and how they can succeed today. And now let's look at some of the materials available for learning about and applying the principles of the early AA program and its practices today. This is part 2, groups 8 to 14 of the resources about the old school program available today. 9. D.J. Defoe, I Saw Religion Remake a Drunkard in Your Faith magazine, September 1939, 84 to 88. It's online in the Silkworth website, http://silkworth.net/AA history/Dr. Bob/Dr. Bob line interview line FM line 0939.html, accessed 2/22/12. In this interview with D.J. Defoe, despite Bill Wilson's work on the new 12-step program, Dr. Bob was still emphasizing a number of important elements of old school AA. These were A, cultivating the habit of prayer, B, reading the Bible, and here he pointed out how he read the Bible with each newcomer he visited in the hospital, C, talking about Jesus Christ, D, declaring once again that he had been cured by the power of prayer. Number 10 resource, quote, get honest with yourself, pray, Alcoholics Anonymous advise. That's the headline in the Tidings, Friday, March 26, 1948, page 17. This important article from a Roman Catholic newspaper published in Southern California contains the remarks of Bill W. and Dr. Bob together on the stage of the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles in 1948 before a crowd of thousands, on the same stage as the one where Bill also addressed the crowd. Dr. Bob quietly, simply, and boldly stressed 4 major elements of the old school AA Christian Fellowship program in Akron. A, cultivating the habit of prayer, B, resuming attendance at a church, C, practicing the principles of the AA program, D, reading the Bible. Resource 11, the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, biographical sketches, their last major talks, Alcoholics Anonymous World Services, Inc., 1972 and 75. This AA General Service Conference approved pamphlet, item P53, records the remarks of Dr. Bob presented in his last major address to AAs in 1948. Dr. Bob's speech contains a goldmine of information about early AA. He hearkened back to the earliest days and pointed out, A, they had no 12 steps, no 12 traditions, no big book, no drunkalogs, and no meetings like those today. B, they believed the answers to their problems were in the Bible. C, They considered the book of James, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, found at Matthew chapters 5 to 7, and 1 Corinthians 13, absolutely essential to their program. D, they had daily meetings. E, he did not write the 12 steps and had nothing to do with the writing of them. F, he felt that at the time of their writing in 1938, AAs already had the basic ideas. They received them, he said, as a result of their study and effort in the Bible in the earliest days. He said those basic ideas came from the Bible. Next, RHS, the January 1951 memorial issue of the Grapevine, published shortly after Dr. Bob's death in 1950. This issue, largely in Bill's own words, tells much about Dr. Bob's life, the early program, the successes, and Dr. Bob's great contributions. 13. 3 books about Clarence Snyder's contributions to AA. First, Dick B., That Amazing Grace, The Roles of Clarence and Grace S. in Alcoholics Anonymous, which was published in 1996. Mitchell K., How It Worked, the story of Clarence H. Snyder and the early days of Alcoholics Anonymous in Cleveland, Ohio. This book is available online at various websites, and we've given the citations in our guidebook. And 3 Clarence Snyder sponsee old-timers and their wives wrote Our AA Legacy to the Faith Community, a 12-step guide for those who want to believe, compiled and edited by Dick B., published by Came to Believe Publications in 2005. And lastly, Alcoholics Anonymous, the Big Book, the original 1939 edition with a 23-page introduction by Dick B., published by Dover Publications in 2011, and in our guide we have given the URL. The personal stories of many early AA pioneers are now available again in Dover Publications' 2011 reprint of the first edition of the Big Book. As Dick B. explains in his substantial introduction, many AAs today do not realize the importance of the personal stories in the 1939 edition. Furthermore, almost all of them have been removed from the current 4th edition, published in 2001. But these stories were intended to be testimonies as to exactly how the old school program had worked in the lives of the pioneers. In many of these stories, one will find discussions of the original Akron AA Christian Fellowship program that was in place prior to the writing of the stories. One will find the old-timers talking about God, His Son Jesus Christ, the Bible, the early AA literature, and Dr. Bob's ideas.